I'll be giving away 5 diamond pass rails for the Goblin Barrel evolution. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Crown Talk, which I'll have linked in the description, and besides that, you just have to like this video and comment your favorite card in the comment section. Yo, what's going on, guys? Today, we're gonna be ranking every card in Clash Royale. We'll be ranking the evolution of a card and its normal card form all together into one. Make sure to comment down below whether you disagree or agree with my rankings, and make sure to subscribe if you find any use out of this tier list. Alright, so hopping right into it, we have the Skeletons. Definitely one of the better cards in the game, and they pretty much always have been. I guess I'll put the Skeletons right in the A tier. Borderline S tier, but they're just a decent card. They don't do too much on their own. They're mainly good for the cycle factor, and they can just distract stuff. Ice Spirit. Honestly, Ice Spirit has fallen off a little bit, as we'll see with this next card here. Ice Spirit, I mean, it's a decent card. I don't even know where I'd put it. I'd probably just put it B tier, even though it's probably more like C tier based on the rates of it right now. So next up we have E-Spirit, and I feel like E-Spirit has replaced Ice Spirit in quite a few of the cycle decks, like the Princess cycle deck and Logbait, stuff like that. They all use E-Spirit now. Even Xbow normally uses E-Spirit. So I think for E-Spirit, I'd actually put it probably towards the top of the A tier. It just works so well in this meta because E-Spirit plus Log fully counters the Wizard Shield, the Evo Wizard Shield, and it can also fully kill stuff like Bombers. And why that's important is because it's so much easier to chain onto a Wizard with an E-Spirit than an Ice Spirit, because with an Ice Spirit you have to basically directly hit the Wizard, but with E-Spirit you can have it jump on like the Giant instead that might be in front of that Wizard. Next up we have Goblins. They're not particularly good right now, honestly, but they're not too bad either. I don't know if I'd put them B tier or C tier. I'd honestly say probably C tier because Skeletons are like 10 times better in this meta. Next up we have the Bomber. I feel like Evo Wizard has replaced Bomber in quite a few decks. The Evo Bomber is still pretty good, and the Bomber itself is a solid card. It's used in RG. A little bit of Goblin Drill, even though Drill isn't played too much anymore. I'd probably put it maybe in the lower A tier, I feel like. Spear Goblins. Honestly, Spear Goblins are so trash right now, but they are probably going to get a buff pretty soon, which will, I think, decrease their first hit time or something like that. I still don't think they'll be very good, though, just because Dagger Duchess does counter them, but if Duchess does get the nerf that we think it might get, maybe they could be a tiny bit better. For now, I'll just put them probably in the D tier. They're just so bad against Duchess, they get 0 damage against it. Zap. I mean, Evo Zap put a pretty good performance on for a while, but it just got kind of wrecked by the balance changes. Right now, some Lava Hound decks use it, and I guess a few other things do as well. But I'm not sure if I want to put it too high up. I could probably put it low A tier, probably somewhere near where the Bomber is. Could even be high B tier, but I feel like Evos in general seem to be quite good right now, so I think that's fine. Sparky. I don't think I saw a single... No, I saw one single Sparky player last season, and the reason why it's so bad is because Rocket is basically everywhere right now, so I'd probably have to put it above Spear Goblins in the D tier as of right now. Just not a good meta for it. Maybe if Rocket fell out of the meta, Sparky could be okay. Alright, Snowball. I mean, Snowball, you don't really see it much at all. Well, actually, I guess you do a little bit in Lava Hound. Lava Hound either uses Evo Zap and Evo Bomber, or they have, I think, Evo Bomber and Evo Valkyrie, then have Snowball instead. So, I mean, Snowball is solid. You know, I guess I'll put it up here. Even a couple of Giant Graveyard players used it. I think a few other people as well. Knight is honestly so good right now. I think I just have to chuck it right in the S tier. Like, the Evo is so broken. Even the normal card itself is so broken. Because even in the Princess deck, the #1 deck in the game, just Princess Rocket Cycle, it had just the normal Knight in it, not even the Evo Knight. Next up we have Archers. Honestly, the nerf to the Archers definitely hurt them quite a bit. They're not completely unviable, though. I don't know if I'd want to put them maybe towards the lower B tier or C tier. I'd probably say high C tier. Yeah, that should be fine. Monk. I mean, Monk is very good right now, mainly because of the fact that it does so well against Dagger Duchess. If it went back to a Princess Tower meta, Monk might fall off just a little bit, but it also got an HP buff not too long ago. There was a very good RG Monk deck last season. I really think Monk is very strong. I'd probably put it right above the Bomber in the A tier. Very good card. Even Giant Monk is kind of viable. Minions. I mean, they're nothing too good. Even Lava Hound, they normally don't play minions in. They usually have, you know, Skeleton Dragons and Inferno Dragon instead of any minions there. I think the only person I faced who had minions last season was a Giant Graveyard player. But they're not too bad. I guess I'll put them in the B tier. Skeleton Barrel. I mean, Skeleton Barrel is so bad, man. I'm just going to put it in the F tier. The reason why is because Dagger Duchess destroys it. Just doesn't even stand a single chance, man. Doesn't even get close to the tower. Next up, we have Firecracker. And man, Firecracker is so bad. I saw some people rating it kind of high recently, but especially after the Evo Firecracker nerf, it dies to arrows now. It's honestly so bad now, the Evo Firecracker, that is. And the normal Firecracker sucks too. I don't think any single deck plays it. Hog is completely out of 12 ladder, out of competitive play. I'm sure some people still face it in mid ladder and stuff like that because people can't really switch decks if they only have a few cards maxed out. But nah, man, Firecracker is just no good right now. I don't even know where I'd put it. Maybe the top of D tier. Honestly, could be at the bottom of C tier, but you just don't see it and it's just not very powerful. Cannon. Man, Cannon just gets destroyed by Void. The thing about Void is that if you get even a single full Void tick on the Cannon, it basically fully kills it. So you basically have to predict it, otherwise your Cannon is not going to stand any chance against the Void. I guess 2.6 uses it, and that's just about it. I'd probably put it low C tier. You pretty much never see it either, but I feel like if the other buildings get a small nerf, Cannon could be a little bit in the meta. Could be used in like bait and stuff like that a little bit. Alright, Electro Wizard. I mean, not many people play Electro Wizard. I'm sure in mid-ladder, a lot of people find use out of it to, you know, stun Inferno Dragons. That kind of thing. I feel like it's just a worse little prince in a lot of decks right now. A lot of the decks that used to use E-Wiz like Pekka Bridge Spam and whatever, they just have Evo Wizard or they have Little Prince. Even stuff like Giant kind of just replaced it, so I'd probably would also put it in the D tier. Fisherman. Man, Fisherman is actually really good right now. It's really good in the Giant decks mainly, and it's also used in RG as well, so I feel like it's a really good card. It was always kind of a solid card, but before people just didn't really use it too much, but now it seems to be quite popular. I'd probably put it... I don't even know where I'd put it. Maybe right here in the A tier, towards the top of the A tier. It's actually getting kind of close to the S tier, surprisingly. Never thought Fisherman would be that high up on the tier list without a buff. Arrows. I mean, arrows were the most broken spell, but Cycle did make a bit of a comeback last season. That Rocket Cycle Princess deck. I'm probably going to mention that deck a ton throughout this video because that pretty much is the entire meta. So arrows, I mean, there's arrows in Lava Hound, arrows in Giant. I might say S tier or like the very top of A tier. I might honestly say S tier though, just because a lot of stuff uses arrows. Royal Delivery. There's no Royal Delivery decks right now. Just all the cycle decks, they don't prefer to have it because they just want to have a way quicker cycle by using one of those 1 elixir cards rather than the delivery itself. Yeah, I'm not even sure where I'd put it. Like a lot of these cards here that I'm ranking very low, they're not bad cards, it's just the fact that this Dagger Duchess meta and everything like that, it just doesn't suit them very well. Phoenix. Phoenix was very good in RG last season, you know, used in Giant too. It's made a bit of a comeback as well, kind of with the Fisherman. So I feel like probably right next to the Fisherman is fine because pretty much every Fisherman deck also uses Phoenix. Phoenix is very solid. Man, Goblin Drill, the fall off of the century. It really had the fall off of the century. It just disappeared. I feel like it's not that bad though. The nerf definitely affected it a lot, but just the meta is not good for it. There's better things to use. I mean, it could be viable in this meta. They're just better things to use, so why would you use Goblin Drill? You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm still probably going to say B tier, just because if it weren't for the #1 deck in the game, Minor Princess. I mean, not Minor Princess, Princess Rocket, then I feel like Drill could be okay. Well, I'm not even sure. I might even rank it just more towards the middle of the B tier. I feel like it should still be an okay win condition. I don't know if I'm being a little bit too generous to it or not. Skeleton Dragons. They do feel really solid right now. They're used in Lava Hound. Not too much else, but they can definitely sneak their way into quite a few decks. And Lava Hound is quite solid right now. I don't know. I feel like A tier might be overranking them just slightly, but they probably deserve it. Princess. Dude, Princess. Princess. See, I don't think anyone expected this. Guys, I dare to do this, man. I dare to do this. S tier. I literally dare to do this right now. I don't, it's crazy. Ask anyone 1 month ago and they would never expect this, but Princess, it's so broken because of Dagger Duchess. You played at the bridge, and pretty much anything your opponent can play to counter it, your Dagger Duchess will just fully counter. So you don't even have to spend Elixir on whatever they play. Like, if they play a Phoenix, Duchess fully counters. If they play Goblins, Duchess fully counters. Minions, Duchess fully counters. Skeleton Dragons, Duchess pretty much fully counters. You get the point. Such a broken card. It's basically a win condition right now in the #1 deck. Mortar, honestly, Mortar made a slight comeback last season. There was some Mortar Minor Poison. It seemed to be doing pretty solid. I guess I'll put it in the B tier. Not a bad card. Poison's got a pretty decent nerf, but it still seems to have not affected its usage too much. I feel like the main reason we don't see it as much right now is because Minor Poison is not being used as much. Minor isn't the best right now. It's not really the poison itself that feels much weaker. I don't know where I'd put Poison, to be honest. I'd probably say around here in the A tier. I don't know if people would agree with that or not, but it's very solid, just maybe not quite as good as it was 1 or 2 metas ago. Tesla. Oh, Tesla, I don't know if I want to put it above... Dude, low-key, I don't know. Princess might low-key be one of the better cards in the game. I'm not sure if I put Tesla above it or not, though. Man, I don't know. It's tough to say. Tough to say. I'll say we could decide this later. If we want to move it later, we can do that. Barbarians. I mean, Barbarians, they just don't work too well in this meta because people are mainly trying to counter the Princess Cycle deck. So they don't really want Barbs there. It just makes the Lava Hound decks and stuff like that a little bit too expensive to be used very well. So I guess I'd say top of C tier. I don't know, some people might put it a little bit higher, like low B tier. Rascals. I forgot they existed. It's a pretty good Logbait meta right now, but even so, you still never see Rascals. Ever. I almost want to put them F tier, actually. I don't know. Either low D tier. Honestly, nah, probably F tier, because there's so many things to counter. Like, Monk can counter it easily, Arrows can counter them easily, Log can counter them easily. You name it. Okay, RG. Honestly, RG has seen a better meta than it has in quite a long time. It used to be very broken all the time, but then it kind of had a bit of a stale period, but now it seems to be... Yeah, it seems to be back and better than it has been in a very long time. So I guess I'll probably put RG kind of up here in the A tier. Definitely one of the better win conditions in this meta. Elite Barbarians. I forgot they existed as well. They can just probably go to the bottom of the F tier. Yeah, I mean, nobody plays them at all. And they're not very powerful in this meta either. There's so many cycle cards to distract them. Just one Elixir Evo Skellies gets rid of them. Royal Recruits. Man, I remember Evo Recruits were so broken for some time, and they got a few small nerfs, nothing too major, but they really did fall off. I guess maybe because the Dagger Duchess kind of just manhandles them, and also, I guess Recruits just doesn't beat the cycle decks like it used to, because of, you know, the broken Evo Tesla. Things like that. So I don't know where exactly I'd want to put them. Probably even below the Barbs in C tier. Kind of have these 3 Evos all right next to each other. Just a bunch of mid-Evos right here. Okay, Archer Queen. I'm just trying to think if anything really plays Archer Queen. Like, Little Prince is really just boxing it out. Before, Archer Queen was a little bit viable in Royal Hogs Earthquake, but Royal Hogs completely fell out of the meta, so... Yeah, it doesn't even have that going for it. Doesn't really have anything going for it, but it's still a very strong card. And Little Prince will get a nerf very soon, and if it does, then I think Archer Queen could come back big time. So, I guess right here in the B tier is fine. Baseball Tiny. I mean, nobody even plays baseball anymore in Clash Royale, at least. So Baseball Tiny, it's not that bad. It would be better if Sparky was meta, maybe. But yeah, I'll probably put it right there. Ice Golem. I mean, Ice Golem was quite good with Minor Poison, but people stopped playing Minor Poison. Still not that bad of a card, though, so I don't even know where I'd want to put it exactly. Just somewhere there in the C tier. It's not that bad in a Dagger Duchess meta. Magic Archer. I mean, basically only Remy Eli was running Magic Archer, and he had pretty good success with it, but nothing too crazy. And he was playing really well too, so if he didn't get a really high finish, that probably means that Magic Archer was not too strong. Yeah, I don't know where I'd put it though. Probably here in the C tier somewhere. Mega Minion. I mean, a few people were running Mega Minion in a Lava Hound minor deck at the start of the season, but that just ended up not being the best version of Lava Hound as the meta kept adapting. It gets wrecked by stuff like Monk, for example, whereas Phoenix does not get wrecked by Monk. And it's no reason really to play it over Inferno Dragon. Yeah, there's really no reason, so I think C tier is fine. Goblin Barrel. Man, this is a tough one because Logbait was actually very, very strong last season. One of the better metas for it. They finished top 10 in the world, and it wasn't even Riley who finished top 10 with it. Actually, Riley... Dude, it's so sad that Riley finished top 1 without Logbait, though. Imagine if he just put a barrel in there, then he could finally say he finished number 1 with Logbait. I finished number 1 with Hog EQ, so I can always brag about it from now on. Or from when I got it already a while ago. Alright, so Goblin Barrel, man, it's tough to say because it does definitely suck, but Princess is so broken that the deck as a whole is very, very good right now. Dude, I know Riley's gonna get angry at me and some Logbait players are gonna get angry at me, but I mean, the deck is just so good, it just... Sure, Goblin Barrel's kind of like the weakest link of Logbait, but at the same time, it just synergizes so well together. You know what I mean? So I feel like, honestly, I don't even mind doing that. I know Riley and his fans are gonna get so angry, they're gonna say, oh, it should go in F tier. Realistically, I'd say here is probably fine, maybe C tier if you want, but... I don't know, Logbait works very well in this meta. Alright, Dark Goblin. I mean, it will get a buff, it looks like. Just a small damage buff, I think it was, or something like that. But as of right now, I don't even know. I guess next to the Firecracker. Two very similar cards. Neither of them are really going to be viable. But I mean, yeah, Dark Goblin might be back in bait with the buff. I really don't think so, though, but you never know. Maybe in Recruits decks it could work as well a bit better. Elixir Golem. It was good when Pump was good, but Pump got a nerf, and since then it kind of fell off, but there still have been a few E-Golem players playing like Evo Wizard and stuff like that. I don't know where I'd put it, honestly. Maybe even C tier? You know, I don't mind that too much. I don't mind that. I saw definitely a few players playing it. It's not that bad. Tombstone. I mean, before Lava Hound was the main deck to use it, now Lava Hound doesn't use it. So it fell a little bit into oblivion. But I'd still put it B tier just because it's overall a solid card. You can throw it in a lot of things and it usually works out pretty well. But also Splash Yard fell off big time, and that was the main deck that also used Tombstone. Earthquake. It just does way too little damage right now. The meta's kind of just Spell Cycle, and Earthquake is one of the spells that does really not that much damage for its elixir cost. Man, can I stop hitting this? I don't even know what's happening, man. It keeps popping that up. Alright, anyways. Earthquake. I mean, Hog Earthquake's completely dead. Royal Hogs Earthquake are completely dead. Man, Earthquake is garbage. And also, Earthquake is so bad against Tesla, so I guess I'll put it towards the bottom of the C tier. Okay, Little Prince. Dude, it's so broken. I'm so happy it's finally gonna get a decent nerf. They just decided to tickle Little Prince for like a year straight. They just decided to tickle it every time and never give it a decent nerf. But finally now it looks like they're gonna give it a solid nerf. But it's still very broken as of right now. Where would I put the card though? I don't even know. Somewhere up here. You can interchange a few of these cards, but you get the point. Definitely in the S tier. Even after the nerf, I feel like it still won't be that bad because the Little Prince itself will still be very good, even though the ability will be quite a bit weaker, doing less damage than before. Valkyrie. There were some Lava Hound players playing Valkyrie for sure, so it's actually not half bad right now. But yeah, it really was just them, so I'll put it in the middle of the B tier. It's kind of nice against Little Prince and a handful of other things as well in the meta. Goblin Gang, there was just one bait deck that was running it. Doesn't work too bad in this meta. But not too good either. Not sure where I'd want to rank it. Probably below Earthquake. Lightning. Honestly, Lightning's probably one of the worst spells in this current meta. I guess it does counter Tesla, but the Evo Tesla, for example, it still gets the 2 shockwaves even if you Lightning it, so it doesn't really matter too much. E-Giant's not viable. You know, Golem. And a lot of other decks just prefer to use Void. I guess Void is basically a better Lightning right now, so honestly, Lightning is so trash. I'd probably put it next to the Earthquake. maybe above the Earthquake in C tier. After Void gets a solid nerf, which Void will get a nerf, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But after Void falls off, Lightning could come back just a little bit. Musketeer, I mean, nobody plays it. But if a ton of other stuff got a nerf, it could be viable. It's just that there's so many better cards than it. You have like Little Prince. Even if that gets nerfed, then people just play Archer Queen. If that gets nerfed, I don't know what people will play, but probably not Musketeer until a lot of other stuff gets nerfed. Mini Pekka. I mean, it's not that terrible, but there's just not that many cards that you need to DPS down right now in this meta. It's mostly Cycle. Well, it's not mostly Cycle, but I don't know, Mini Pekka just doesn't do the best job ever. There's like giant decks and RG decks, but Mini Pekka just gets kind of steamrolled by the big pushes, I feel like. Sometimes the Mini Pekka just can't deal with those big pushes, even though it does do a lot of DPS. It just gets pushed around by the monks, pulled by the fishermans, everything like that. So honestly, probably C tier is fine. Maybe even below Goblin Gang. And below Cannon too. Hog Rider. Dude, Hog Rider is genuinely so bad. See, if I was talking about the strength of it right now, I'd probably say... Dude, I don't think I faced one single Hog Rider deck last season. You can counter with skeletons. 1 elixir skeletons plus Dagger Duchess fully counters Hog Rider. That is a little bit wild. If I were talking about the strength of it right now, I'd probably put it F tier or D tier, genuinely. I'm not even joking. Probably D tier, but yeah, I'm not even joking. After the Duchess nerf, though, I'd probably put it... I don't know, I'd probably say it could be C tier after the Duchess nerf. Maybe even a bit better, but yeah, kind of hard to tell. Dude, genuinely, though, it's one of the worst win conditions in the game right now. Dude, I don't know where to put it. I know so many people are going to start, you know, going ham in the comment section if I put it too low. Where would I put it? I'll put it below Goblin Gang, fine. Bottom of the C tier, that's fine by me. Battle Ram. I mean, Pekka Bridge Spam actually made quite a nice comeback towards the end of last season. There were quite a few players playing it, and Battle Ram was inside of the deck. Duchess does fully kill the Battle Ram. Not the Barbarians inside, though, so it's not super good, but definitely not that bad either. I don't know if I put it B tier, though. I almost want to. Man, I don't know. The Evo's just okay. People don't usually play it with the Evo, though, these days. I'm honestly feeling like that's not bad for it. I don't know. People might disagree with me. You might be right, but that should be okay. Bomb Tower. I mean, Tesla's just like 20 times better. Even though Bomb Tower is a nice card. It's like probably closer to at least B tier in strength, but Tesla's 10 times better, so no need for the Bomb Tower. Furnace. Dude, all spawners are just so terrible, except Tombstone is like one of the only good spawners. It's not even good either, but it's just okay. But yeah, just so terrible ever since Cannoneer and Dagger Duchess came out. Flying Machine, I mean, Lava Hound doesn't even use it. What even does use Flying Machine? I don't know, actually. Probably nothing. Goblin Cage. Goblin Cage may get a small buff to the Cage HP. As of right now, nobody plays it, but it's not that bad either. It's just the same situation for like... See, I feel like the meta is so not diverse right now. I know a lot of people are going to say how I keep on saying the same thing about all of these cards. Well, the meta really just is not diverse right now, and the reason that a lot of these cards are bad is all the same. It's just the fact that... I don't know, I mean... There's just like a few strong decks, and there's nothing... I mean, there's like no reason to play anything else now. There's... I don't know, there's just really no need at all to play anything else. Fireball, I mean, Void is 10 times better, so... Why would you play Fireball? But I guess Fireball's a bit better than some of the other spells. Oh, you know what? Okay, I forgot. RG does run Fireball, so... It gets a bit better treatment because of that, I would say. I'd probably put it at the top of the B tier. I think it's not quite A tier, because only RG runs it. And even RG sometimes has the Void instead. Ram Rider, I mean, it's so bad. I'd probably say the bottom of the D tier. It might get a nice buff soon, though, to the amount of time it takes for it to charge, which could help out a little bit. I don't like Ram Rider, though, so I hope it's not going to be meta. Okay, Pekka. Honestly, Pekka was not too bad. People were always complaining, like all the Pekka players were complaining how weak it was, but at the end of the season, I saw a ton of Pekka players were there, so... I don't know actually where I'd want to put it. Maybe here. I know this tier list looks really wacky. Like, a lot of cards are kind of just boosted in their rankings. Like, a lot of these B tier cards would normally be a little bit lower in, like, towards the C tier, but just because the meta is so not diverse, it just, that they're able to push their way up a little bit higher than normal. Since they're actually even a sliver viable. Even a tad bit viable, I should say. Battle Healer, I mean, E-Golem doesn't even use Battle Healer either. Golem was using Battle Healer, but it completely died after the pump. So, I don't know if I put it maybe like at the bottom of D tier though. Just because maybe like 1 or 2 people still play Golem. Zappies, I saw one single player playing it, one Graveyard Freeze player, but he definitely disappeared pretty quickly. Zappies just don't really function too well in this meta. If it was... I mean, I don't know what would have to happen for Zappies to be better, but they're just really kind of just an awkward card in this current meta. Giant, okay, Giant was really good. I don't think Giant actually finished in the top 10 though, if I remember correctly. So I'm not sure where maybe it finished like maybe one player in the top 10 was playing it. Not even sure. I feel like right here maybe is okay. I don't know if I should rank it a little bit differently, but that's probably fine. Okay, Evo Wizard, man. Evo Wizard is so good right now. It's pretty much used in every single Giant deck. Sometimes used in RG. Used a lot in Pekka. Alright, Wizard. Man, I honestly want to put it in the S tier. It's so good right now. I'm not sure if it's better than, like, Little Prince and stuff, though. I don't know. It's really tough to say, but Evo Wizard's so good in Giant. Can be used in RG. So good in Pekka. So good in even E-Golem, for example. It kind of carries E-Golem right now, actually. It's so good in pretty much everything. Alright, Royal Hogs. Man, they're so bad in this meta. Probably a little bit better than Hog Rider, though. To be fair. Yeah, somewhere around there is probably fine. Goblin Hut. I mean, what's worse, Goblin Hut or Furnace? Maybe Furnace, but I'm not even sure, actually. You guys can let me know in the comment section. Inferno Tower, I mean... Inferno Tower was used in Logbait just a little bit, but most of the Logbait players switched to just playing Logbait without the Goblin Barrel at the end of the season. So I mean, Inferno Tower, it's not that bad. It can counter, you know, Lava Hound and stuff like that pretty well. I would say B tier is probably fine, maybe a tad bit lower, but I don't mind it at all. I don't mind playing it. Barb Hut, I mean, it's basically like the other spawners. It doesn't really do anything, but it may be a bit more of a risk because it's a bit more expensive. So I think that's fine. Elixir Collector. I mean, it got a big nerf, but at the same time, the Void kind of killed it. I feel like if Void wasn't meta, there would be a small chance that some Collector decks could show up. So yeah, I don't even know. Probably the bottom of the C tier for now. Okay, Rocket. Man, Rocket was everywhere, man. Rocket was everywhere. See, Rocket wasn't very good for a long time because Poison just always outdid it. Like the Poison drill decks, minor poison decks, they always outdid Rocket, but then they nerfed the poison crown tower damage, so now you can actually Rocket Psycho those players and beat them, which was a really big change, which allowed Rocket to now be another top tier spell. I don't know if I would say S tier though or not, because honestly I feel like it's more so the Princess that's the issue, if you ask me. I'd probably say here, to be honest. It's so good right now. I'm not sure if it's even this high, to be honest. It's just the fact that Princess is so good, but... I mean, you can't take away the fact that Rocket is also really good, so... I guess right there is probably okay. 3 Musketeers, I mean... Man, do we have any tier lower than F tier? I'd probably throw them right down there. But yeah, they're just so bad. You just can't keep up with the quick cycle decks. You can't even really pump up to get an Elixir lead since pump is so terrible now. There's just nothing you can do as a 3 Musketeer player. Mirror, I mean, nobody plays it. And it's not good either. It never really has been except that one time that they made it 2 levels higher when you use a mirror. So I mean, where I'd put it, I guess below E-Barbs right there. Wall Breakers, they're a fun card for me to play. But once again, Dagger Duchess does not really allow them to be viable. They're probably still a little bit better than some of these cards here. Maybe right there. I don't even know, man, because... I don't know, it's just hard to say. I mean, I would rank them definitely higher after the Dagger Duchess gets a nerf. But yeah, somewhere around here, somewhere in the C tier. Not all of these ratings are exact. I know I'm just kind of chucking cards in each category, not completely ranking them by the exact placement. Rage spell. I mean, I saw some Rage Goblin Giant. Also, guys, I don't know why, but I keep on saying I mean for every single ranking. So, my bad if I do subconsciously say that every single time. Alright, so Rage. Giant was playing it. The Giant beatdown decks, they were often playing it. And I guess that was pretty much it. Maybe a couple other things. It worked well for them. Somewhere here in the B tier. Bandit. Pekka used Bandit. What else used Bandit? Probably nothing. So Bandit, I mean, I guess it can go in the B tier. Yeah, but you can really see a lot of these cards are boosted. Like, these cards really, most of them should be in the C tier, just the fact that they're like C tier strength, but it's just the fact that the rest of the cards are just weaker. That's the issue. At least these cards are still viable even in the Dagger Duchess meta, a little bit. Barbarian Barrel was a solid spell last season. It was decent in RG. That was probably mostly it. There's definitely more options now instead of just Bar Barrel. So I don't know where I'd actually put it. Probably right there. Somewhere in the B tier. Skeleton Army, it's not really a F-worthy card, I feel like. But yeah, probably D tier. Guards, I mean, guards are basically better. Skeleton Army is basically a better Skeleton Army, if you think about it. Just a Skeleton Army that's spell resistant, doesn't even die to arrows now. Guards were quite nice in Lava Hound. The Lava Hound players either used Valkyrie or guards. Kind of just depended on what they felt like. So guards, I mean, probably put them right here. I'm kind of just trying to think long and hard about each one of my rankings. Tornado. Surprisingly, Tornado wasn't actually very good last season. If you think about it, none of the top decks used it. I don't think a single top deck used it. You just don't really need it anymore with all these broken cycle cards. Normally, you kind of needed Tornado for like a really good defense against Lava Hound and stuff like that, but the spell cycle decks last season, they still beat Lava Hound even without a Tornado. I mean, honestly, Hunter was probably one of the few people who played Tornado. If you guys know Hunter, he's quite a good Xbow player. He makes videos too. He was one of the few top ladder players that was actually playing Tornado. But honestly, it would just be a little bit below the A tier. That in my opinion. So I'm here. It's like normal, just meta that you want for Tornado. Rider really to deal with or anything like that, so there's not need for Tornado. Clone, we're I don't know, probably here somewhere. Here, just too bad. we're gonna have to put down here, just roughly. And for the final card, yeah, just nobody plays this. Just not good. They gave it a few buffs that didn't really make much of a difference. And alright, this is my final tier list, so thank you guys for watching, and see you in